Hey, man.
What's going on?
Oh,
Ew, I don't like that at all. That seems like we're doing a McDonald's commercial.
what?
And you're just like, ho, 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 ho. Or, you know what it sounds like? A Long John Silver's commercial. Ho, 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 ho. Arg, matey. Have you heard of Hush Puppies?
Oh my gosh. So, have you heard of John McAfee?
Oh, we already did that.
No.
No, we did an episode about him.
We did an episode a while ago about him.
What happened?
Which I feel like we need to apologize for because I had bronchitis.
Oh, it's fine. No one listened to it. We're good.
If you haven't listened to the episode, you should listen to it. But remember, I had bronchitis.
He's a wild person.
Yeah, he was a crazy man.
When I say that, I mean like he literally lived in. He was just a wild man, like a feral person.
Mm-hmm,
He's just out there.
Yeah, a feral person. That's a good description. So he just died. It just hit the news yesterday. Well, at the time of recording this, he was found out he was in prison in Spain. And
what did he get arrested for?
He got arrested for tax evasion. He had been on the run from law
by the Spanish government.
By the Spanish government.
Okay.
I think, I'm foggy on the details of that, but I think that he was arrested for tax evasion in the U.S. by the Spanish government, and they were working on extraditing him.
Okay. So he had evaded taxes in the U.S., and then the Spanish government was arresting him on behalf of the U.S.
Yeah. And so then...
So he was arrested.
He was arrested.
In jail.
He's been in prison for about a year.
Okay.
He just recently got extradited. Like it just got approved for him to
come to the U.S.
To come to the U.S. and face his trial. But then in prison, he took his life by hanging.
Is that how he died?
In prison. That's how he died. Yes. Here's the thing. If you have been following John McAfee for a while, which if you have, that's
on Twitter, we do.
We do. He has been saying this was going to happen.
He's been saying he's not going to kill himself.
Yeah, he's been saying that he's been hearing things from government officials.
Didn't he tweet very explicitly in like October of last year, like, I like this jail, like I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
If I kill myself, I didn't do it.
Yeah, he straight up said, he's like, I'm comfortable, I have food to eat. He's like, I'm content here. Know that if I die, it wasn't me.
And then he went further.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was before this. But before he was in prison, he was convinced that the government was after him and wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
And so he got a tattoo that said "whacked," because he's like, if I kill myself,
I didn't do it.
He's like, if I kill myself, look at my arm. It wasn't me. And he was so convinced that this was happening. His wife has come out in an interview now with CNN.
Saying he didn't kill himself.
He said his last words to me were, "I love you. I will call you in the evening." And she was like, he wouldn't have done it this way. She was like, he had no motivation to take his own life. He was not depressed. He was content in his prison. She was like, we know who did this. And she's like, I just want the responsible parties to come forward. Essentially, like she's like, I want to find out what actually happened to my husband because he didn't take his life.
I'm not a conspiracy person.
Yeah.
But this guy was whacked.
He was 100% whacked. Yeah. And you know me, I don't like to peddle conspiracy theories. It's not who I am. But yeah, there's just too many.
What did he know though?
Like
how much, I mean, because they wouldn't do that over like unpaid taxes.
So this all kind of happened, if you remember our episode, this all kind of started when he was living in Belize.
Yeah.
He had a dispute with a neighbor.
So maybe he wasn't paranoid. Maybe he really did. People were really after him.
Yeah. So after he sold his shares in McAfee, and remember, he lived a shady lifestyle.
Right.
Like he was doing really, really shady things.
He had a fortress.
Yeah. And so he got a fortress. He got a security team. And while he was in Belize, his neighbor and him had a lot of disputes. And his neighbor ended up... Well, we're pretty sure his neighbor ended up killing his dogs. McAfee had a bunch of dogs. And his neighbor ended up killing all of his dogs. Allegedly. We're pretty sure he did. And then allegedly, McAfee killed his neighbor. It's never been proved. McAfee says it wasn't him. But a lot of other people who have knowledge of the case are pretty confident that he did it.
Yeah.
Or at least hired somebody to do it.
Right.
And so then he's been on the run ever since then. And he was just like, stopped paying taxes, stopped having anything to do with the government. It was like, I'm on my own. And so he lived on like a yacht for 2 years, like just in the middle of the ocean, like crazy stuff. And then eventually he moved to Spain. And the way they caught him in Spain is actually kind of sad, like given his career. He posted a picture on Instagram in a hotel in Spain, and he forgot that like his photo was going to have like metadata on it with the location. And so they ended up tracking the hotel he was staying at in Spain and arresting him. Which is like, bro, you worked in tech.
You built the antivirus up. Yeah.
Yeah, so they ended up catching him. But yeah, so he was on the run from the government for years.
I mean, like, who's going to, like, that's what I'm saying. All those things are like, oh, he want to get arrested because he maybe killed his neighbor and he's evading taxes. Sure. But like, why would he need to be dead before the trial?
He's never been outspoken about what the issue was.
Okay.
But he has, for close to a decade, been saying that the U.S. government wants him dead. Not that they want him to go to jail and pay his taxes. He said they want him dead. And he's never come out to say why. But he's been very vocal that they want to kill him, and he's on the run because they want to kill him. And so there's not a lot of like motive there really, but there's a lot about this that's fishy. He straight called this. And here's where you kind of have the flip side of the story though. If there is anybody who's ever lived that would get a tattoo and go to really obsessive lengths to say, if I kill myself, it wasn't me, and then kill themselves, it's this guy.
So you're saying that he would make up this whole thing, and then like, how else could this end?
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. Like there's no other person I think that's ever lived that would actually do this.
And he's like, guys, like, you think he's planned all along, maybe, potentially, to kill himself.
Yeah.
And then just planted these things along the way for decades.
Maybe.
Of just like,
maybe.
I would never do that.
Maybe. I'm not saying he did.
Right.
But I'm saying that if there's anybody who would,
so sketchy.
Him.
Like,
but
everything,
the whole situation.
Like,
I'm
really not a conspiracy person, but like, having done the episode about him and then like knowing just a little bit and then seeing those tweets over the past year, and then for that to happen is just
his wife's been tweeting stuff. The weirdest,
who's tweeting from his account?
Okay, yeah. So that was a weird thing that happened.
Because is he tweeting from jail?
Yeah, he was tweeting in jail. So apparently Spanish jails are chill, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Because he was tweeting, posting on Instagram from jail, all this stuff, which maybe he was like relaying that and somebody else was manning his account. I mean, someone with that much money very well could have had somebody who had access. But I mean, you see all the time, like, prisoners are posting stuff from jail. They do like
contraband.
They get that stuff when they're not supposed to. But here's what's kind of sketchy about it. Here's another sketchy layer. Moments after the news broke, on his Instagram account with no caption, just the letter Q, a picture of the letter Q was posted, and it was his account on Twitter and Instagram were immediately shut down. Like, it was like that post came out on Instagram, and Twitter and Instagram shut him down like immediately.
Suspended?
Yeah. So his accounts are suspended, and they're saying it's because he's not alive, and they're like, so we don't leave accounts of dead people
they
active.
Do though,
and I'm like, yeah, that's not true.
But they're back. I mean, I saw his Twitter account.
Oh, did they?
They unsuspended that, but that tweet was not there.
Yeah, so maybe they just took it down long enough to delete those, but no context. So that's one side of it where it's like, I mean, you can explain it. Like, even if he did that, and he's the kind of guy who'd be like, I'm gonna schedule a post on Hootsuite to go out about when I would think the news would break. To just freak people out. Like, I mean, he's the guy who would, or he would hire like whoever he had managing his account.
He's like, hey, post that right after.
Yeah. But I mean, it also leaves the air to say, I mean, what if it was foul play and whoever did it was like, hey, post the Q. Like, whether they think that's funny or whether they actually are affiliated to whatever's going on with that whole mess.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, the thing is sketchy. It's weird.
Because I mean, he just got
extradited to the US. And then he got whacked. So if you don't know the rest of the story, go listen to it. We got a full episode about it. But man, crazy life.
That's so weird.
Crazy life.
Wow.
John McAfee. Final Fiddle.
Cut that part out. I don't like that at all.